Okay, hello everyone. Good evening. We have Gloria here live with us right now, and I know we've got a whole bunch of you on the recording catching up. And welcome. Can you believe it is our seventh Courageous Self-Love Healing Circle?
Great.
Before I started doing these, I was very much like, oh my gosh, can I do this? Is this something that people are going to like? Or, what are we going to talk about? Like all these different things. And this is our seventh one. So to those of you that are here for the first time on a recording, there's a whole archive of 6 other hours of wonderful healing and different groups of people. And so definitely peruse through the archive and take a look. The different topics are there. I mean, we've talked about money, we've talked about relationships, community, belonging. We've talked about slowing down and giving yourself permission to relax. And then last week we talked about community. And so this week I wanted to teach about dream work. And so I'm going to teach about that. I'm trying to think. I'm going to teach about that, but how we've been starting for the last 4 weeks or so. And Gloria, I think this is your first time in this format. I've been using the self-love activation oracle cards to kind of kick off the message of the day for everyone. And so usually everyone that's on live gets a chance to choose A, B, or C. And so, we've got someone else joining in. Cool. Let me just... Hi, Eliza.
Hi.
Hi. We're just getting started.
Awesome.
So this is your first time, right?
It is.
Okay.
And I don't know, my connection is really bad right where I'm at. I'm sorry if it drops. I'm sorry in advance.
If it drops, you can jump back in, but you sound great right now.
Okay.
Okay, beautiful. Well, okay, so Gloria's here. She's been on quite a few, and then we have Eliza here live. And to everyone watching on the recording, I know a lot of people like to catch up on the recording. So just jumping right in, my name is Amelia Fortes, and I am an intuitive self-love healer. And this is our seventh circle, like I said, just before you came on, Eliza. So this is really exciting. And I wanted to create this safe space just to build community of people who are really committed to deepening their self-love and their healing, and just a chance for us to share together. And so how we've been starting these last 4, I think, circles up until now is with this deck here, the Self-Love Activation Oracle cards. So it's a 44-card oracle deck and guidebook that actually I developed. So it's my deck, that's me on the back, and it's available for sale. I know, Gloria, you already bought your copy, so that'll be coming to you soon. And so what I did today was I chose 3 cards, and I was meditating on this circle today. And the question that I asked was, what is the medicine for the people on this circle tonight? So whether you're here live or on the recording, I asked, what is the medicine? And I pulled 3 cards. And usually what happens is if you're here live, you get to pick a card. And so we usually vote on which card. So depending on where the vote goes, because we have even number of people here, I give you a choice of A, B, or C.
Okay.
So, Gloria, what do you pick?
Oh, I picked C.
You pick C. How about you, Eliza?
B.
B and C. You know what? Since there's only 2 of you, we're gonna talk about both. Okay.
Sure. Great.
And so after I talk about this, we're going to go into the lesson of each card because, like I said, I developed the deck. So I'm going to give the lesson from each card. And then the second half, I'm going to teach about dream work as a great tool.
Now, when are the cards available to us?
They should be available in the next couple of weeks.
Oh,
yeah.
Good.
Definitely by May, you'll get it in the mail. Yeah, they're on Facebook right now. But
thank you. Yes.
The box, it's so exciting.
They look adorable. Look at the picture on the back. Nice.
And just a little bit about the cards. They're divided into 7 categories. And it's all about activating your self-love in each category. So the categories are money, spirituality, relationships, body image, community, and career. And then there's 2 wild cards. So that's the 7th category.
Nice.
So who chose B?
I did.
You did?
Eliza.
Wonderful. And so it's a wild card, and the card is, whoops, I dropped it.
Oh no, it is wild. Woohoo.
It's a wild card. It's truly wild. Let go. A new chapter awaits.
Cool.
And so the real message behind this, and every time I teach something, I always say, hear the lesson, but then apply it to you. Take what works and apply it to you. But the real intention behind this card is you're getting this card because there's probably something you're holding on to, and it can be anything. It can be like a pattern, a habit, a belief. It can be a person, a relationship, a job. It can be a physical item, a memory, something that you're holding on to, and it's taking up space, and it's starting to be more painful or too heavy to hold on to, and it's like holding you back a little bit in some way, or holding you down because it's heavy.
Yeah.
And so this card is a gentle reminder to just let go. A new chapter awaits, and in letting go, there will be some grief, there will be some pain, depending on what it is. How much is depending on what it is, but it's worth it because a new chapter is awaiting. The letting go is about creating more space for the new. Like, even if we think about the seasons, right? Winter is all about like death and letting go of the leaves and all of that. And it's for like new rebirth is on the other side of it. So Eliza, I don't know, does that resonate for you at all?
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
It does. Okay, cool. So I'll keep that theme in mind for you as we kind of keep going. And then, Gloria, you said C, right?
Correct.
Okay, cool. So C is from the spirituality category, and it says, take risks. Now is the time to jump.
Wow. Okay.
And, usually with a card like that, or any of these cards really, like that first thing that kind of jumps in your mind, that's the thing. And especially if it makes you go, that's probably what it is. And the intention behind that card is similar to the last card, but a different feeling, where there's something that you've been saying you're going to do, or saying you're going to try. And it could be anything, whether it's trying a new art class that you've been curious about, or singing lessons or something, or whether it's a new relationship that, like, whether it's a friendship or romantic either, but a new something that you've been curious about, or a new business venture, or anything. And this is a card that's a gentle push, a little bit harder of a push than the other one, but to be like, take risks. Now is the time to jump. And really, the message after that is like, you can build your wings on the way down. And also the additional lesson. Oh, hi, who's the baby?
My granddaughter.
Oh, hi. He wants to join the healing circle too.
You want to see?
Hello.
Oh my goodness, how
What's
cute.
her name?
Say Rhea.
Hi, Rhea.
Rhea.
We're
Hi.
learning about-
Yeah, that's Grandma. She's calling you Grandma.
I'm Grandma. Cool.
Who's that? Amelia.
Maya.
Amelia.
Maya.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. How old is she?
2.
2.
Oh.
That's so beautiful.
Yeah.
So this is so great because small children, especially young girls, are such
Maya.
energy.
Hi.
Hi. And this
Hi.
maiden energy is very,
Hi.
see, look, she's new, she's fresh, she's
Hi.
Yeah. Hi.
she's
Yeah.
excited, she's learning new things.
Yeah.
Right? And so that's actually perfect timing for this card.
I'm in a meeting. Can you take her?
No, no, no.
Yeah, she wants. She already said hi.
Okay.
Everyone said hi already.
See you later.
The rice is in the back room.
I already got it.
Okay.
I'm gonna lock this door.
Okay.
Oh, I love that. See. It's like such unexpected, but I can actually use that. It's perfect for this card because, like I said, she's a young girl, maiden energy, full of curiosity, and I think a lot of times we don't take risks and we don't jump because we know too much almost, and we're scared of things.
We stay safe. We stay safe.
We
We
stay
stay with what we know.
But that maiden energy can actually really help with that, taking the risks. Now is the time to jump, because it's like if you can embody that joy and that innocence and that new beginner mindset, it can help make that risk a little bit more fun and exciting, and then you won't put too much pressure on yourself. Does that make sense? Does that resonate with you, Gloria?
It does. It really does, because you're excited. And so it's the excitement that is guiding you rather than the fear. So you say, this is going to be good. This is going to be great. I'm doing it. I'm doing it. Rather than, oh my God, I don't know if I do this. But yeah.
Does it feel like this card is the right one for you?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And tagging back to your card, the energy for that is the crone. And the crone is essentially the wise elder woman, who has been through some stuff, who has seen all the ups and downs of life, and understands that while death is hard, while letting go is hard, while grief is hard, there is that springtime on the other side of it. And the good thing about that too is with the crone, then, because she's kind of like seen it all and she has such deep wisdom, she can also have a sense of humor about it. So in terms of like letting go and a new chapter awaits, remembering that this is all part of the cycle of life can help make that a little easier. So I love talking about these different archetypes, because when we can embody those, we have all those archetypes within us, right? Especially as women. And so when we can embody those, they can help us with these like next chapters of our life. So yeah, those are the cards for today. Is there anything that either of you want to say, or any questions that come up? Or I'm curious, like what these cards mean to you.
Well, I'm in a process of a lot of changes and letting go. You can call it that. I'm a healer. I do a lot of healing work, and a coach. So I do these Zoom meetings, and I have like a following, and people listen to me. But I've been focusing on being a healer. But then I want to niche down to a trauma coach, but then niche even further down to bereaved parents, because I lost a son to cancer. And so there's that process of going from really broad to my audience being kind of broad down to more very specific challenges that people face.
Right.
And so I'm trying to let go of being broad and be more specific.
Yeah.
And then there's letting go of my son who passed, and then there's one of my other businesses that I've done for 30 years is teach piano online. And so I have that I'm kind of moving away from and getting more into that space of being a coach.
Yeah.
And
I relate to that so much, the whole niche down thing. And I'm so sorry that happened to you in your family. I had he's my nephew, but he's more like my little brother, because we were only 6 years apart. And yeah, and we lost him 3 years ago to cancer. And it's interesting, before you came on, Gloria and I were talking about cancer.
Right. Yeah.
So it's interesting. I think there's a theme here that wants to come through. So I'm going to kind of follow that intuition and like go with that. Let's see what happens. Let's see what comes through. I'm curious, Eliza, do you have like a ritual that supports you, like through letting go and through grief and things like that?
I do a lot of self-healing work, a lot. It's been 5 years, but we went through a 2-year battle first.
Yeah.
With it, and so yeah, I do. I have a support system with other coaches and healers when I really feel like I need to reach out. Most of the time, what I do for myself can pull me out of that if I get there. You know, that depth of despair.
Absolutely, yeah.
You know, and it's funny because as a coach and a healer, you know, and helping other people, it's harder to help yourself.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like you know all the answers for other people, but yes.
Your food.
Oh, hold on a second.
Sure.
You left. Oh. Anyway, so yeah, that's what I do, is just do my own work. My husband is a healer also, and so he does work on me also.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I think when we are healers and coaches, I still think like we absolutely like need people to facilitate for us. I mean, I think that's the benefit of it, you know, because I'm a hypnotherapist too, and there's also such a thing as self-hypnosis, and I absolutely do self-hypnosis, and I can even teach people how to do self-hypnosis or heal yourself. But it is important to have like a sacred witnessing and holding space and facilitating, so that you can, like a container, so you can really like let go. And so I'm glad you're here, because I know for me too, like I lead circles like this, and so it's like it's nice for me to like go somewhere where I can just be led. So I'm so glad you're here to kind of just be led. And it's interesting, my intuition, I wanted to teach dream work today, which I still will, because that's what I said I would do. And my intuition though was saying I need to talk about grief, and it's just so funny because then I was like, way morning when I woke up, I was like, I need to talk about grief tonight. And like, no, we'll do the dream work and we won't talk about grief at all. But then Gloria comes on, and she, you know, she's dealing with stuff with her brother right now, and we talked about our family's battles with cancer and grief. And then last week was my mother's 6-year anniversary of her passing. And then, you know, what's coming through for you with this is, you know, you're bringing what you're bringing into the space. So I'm like, okay, I hear you.
Well, let me add to this, because it's really, we're all in sync. In 2014, I really started my health coaching, life coaching business, and I had 5 or 6 clients, and things were going well. I was helping one gentleman was needed to find a new job. He hadn't been working for about a year and a half, and he had gained a lot of weight. So I was working on weight loss, but also helping him with a job. And I had a few other clients. And then May of 2014, May 4th, my niece Michelle was pregnant. And on May 3rd, she was getting ready to have her baby shower. The baby was going to be due in June. She was 8 months pregnant, and there was no heartbeat. And 36 hours later, she delivered a stillborn, beautiful baby boy, baby Hobbs, our Hobbs. And it just, of course, devastated all of us, because we were so excited. This was the first grandchild, and we knew it was going to be a boy. I mean, everything. But the day of the shower, this happened. So now we're calling people not to come to the shower because there's no heartbeat. The baby is no longer with us. And she delivered the baby 36 hours later. I held him. We all held him. It was absolutely tragic. And a part of that, so that's that. But when you said about like not able to continue, I couldn't coach anyone. I told my clients, I said, I need to take a leave. I'm just not there. I can't think of anything about my own grief, my own loss. and the despair. And it went on for a year. I mean, we were all devastated, but I couldn't get out of it. But the good news is that in 2015, she became pregnant again. And of course, we were all very nervous, but she has a beautiful baby girl, Olivia, who's going to be 4 in August. And she also has another little girl, Amara, who's 1.5. She'll be 2 in November. So you know, we've all moved on. But what's coming up for us now is we participate in the March of Dimes. They have a walk in Boston, and we'll all go. And the 2 little babies, the 2 little girls, they'll walk too because they know they had a brother. Yeah. And this is all for the families that have lost children in childbirth or stillborn. Yeah. And so that's coming up May 11th. It's Mother's Day weekend, and so it's just a weekend of well, it's a mixture, of course, of grief and loss, but also joy, because so many of these families have gone on to have families and children. So you know, there is hope. We always have to think about that. There is hope, and when there's hope, there is life, and there is a future. And so that has gotten me through, because now I'm back to health coaching and working with clients. Yeah. So what I wanted to say to you before, Eliza, is that I think that career path ebbs and flows like the ocean based on our own life patterns.
Yeah, it does.
And so you need to acknowledge it and just go with that and say, okay, I'm at a point where I am not participating. I'm grieving, and that's okay. And then at some point, you will move forward, because that's life. We ebb and flow. We're the ocean. We're the ocean. So that's my state. Yeah.
Thank you so much for bringing that in. And so I think I'll spend a moment kind of talking about this. And I always like to build in journaling time so everyone can take it even deeper. So since that's where we're going, and I'm imagining for those watching the recording, this is also what you need to hear. The first thing I want to say about grief and loss is, you know, our culture, especially our Western culture in the United States, we don't teach how to deal with grief. It kind of just hits us like a semi-truck, and we're not taught what to do or how to deal with it. We're taught a lot about, and I read this in this book called The Grief Recovery Handbook, and it's basically, it gives an example. It's like, we're taught how to acquire things. We're taught how to like make new friends, get a job, get into school, buy a new car, buy a new house, how to like acquire things. But there's so much teaching around that, but there's not enough teaching around how to lose things.
Right.
And grief can be a response to losing anything. You know, and obviously the response is like different depending what it is, whether like, you know, from an object to a person, or from a job, or from a marriage, you know, to a child or a parent, or etc. So, so I'd love to spend a little bit of time on that, and how we can tap into the wisdom of the crone to kind of help us move through this. And also an invitation to either of you, but anyone listening, that you've got to go through grief. Like Gloria, you pretty much like said it in that way. Like, you've got to go through it. Like, it doesn't have to be like years and years and years, but it can end up being years and years and years if you avoid it. And so you've got to go through it, and whatever that looks like for you. So,
yeah, because the grief is because what you've lost meant something to you. If it didn't mean anything to you, there'd be no grief. You know, if I break a glass or whatever, you know, there's no grief there, because the glass is insignificant. But if you love someone, or even a house or a car, I mean, if that is part of who you are, if you lose that, there's a grief, and that's okay. That's okay. Yeah. You should grieve it.
We're not taught that, though. I mean, like, it's not openly taught. So the journaling question that I invite everyone to answer right now, and I'll give everyone like a minute to do that, is, what is something I can do. Now, this is whether you're experienced or well-versed with acknowledging and honoring your grief, or if not. So wherever you're at, what can I do now to support my grieving process? So let's take a minute and a half to do that. So I'll time you. So what can I do now? What's something I can do to support my grieving process? Take about another 30 seconds to finish up your thought. And the next question is, what are some ways I've been avoiding supporting my grieving process? And take another minute and 30 to answer that. Did you have a question?
Yeah. What? Can you repeat that again? What? The second question?
What are some ways I've been avoiding supporting my grieving process? And take a minute to do that. Take another 30 seconds there to wrap that up. And then the third question is, having experienced loss in my life, what do I know to be true about grief? and take one more minute to answer that. Thirty seconds. Does anybody need more time? Okay. I want to hear what came up for everyone. So you don't have to share. Gloria, are you back?
Yeah. Oh yeah. There I am.
Do you need more time?
No. I had to put the phone down. I had to put the phone down. Okay.
I definitely want to get to dream work in the last few minutes. So you don't have to share everything that came up because it was a lot of questions, but I designed it, to like really take it deeper. But I'm curious to hear, like, did any new insight or something surprise you, or something exciting or maybe not exciting because we're talking about grief, but something important that you want to share with not only us, but everyone who'll be watching this recording? Anything come through?
Well, just earlier today, my husband and I went on a hike, and during that hike, we decided to take a much needed trip, and to just get away from things and just be with each other and just relax. And so for me, that was, it's been 5 years, and we really haven't taken a very specific time out related to that loss.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, we've done other trips, but it's just been, I don't know, this is different. This is a different kind of trip. It's specifically dedicated to just being alone and contemplating and rejuvenating. And so, we're going to go to New England, Connecticut, travel through Maine and New England area and see old friends because we used to live there.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm doing to support the grief.
Yeah.
And then the next question was about avoiding grief. I guess what came up for me is I don't reach out as often as I need to. Like I don't.
Like friends or like your support system?
Yes, right. Like when I'm in that space where I really should be calling somebody or needing to talk to somebody, I don't. I do it later, or I do it when I'm not in that place of need.
Yeah.
Like I'm really stubborn about getting through it myself. And then I'll tell somebody, you know what happened to me yesterday?
It hurts, right? Like I relate to that, but we avoid it because it hurts.
Right.
But I think the question, like, I wanted to ask that just to bring some awareness to it. And with the topic of grief, I think we just, no matter what, like, be gentle with ourselves. But yeah, I relate to that. Like I said, last week is the 6-year anniversary of my mom's passing. And, for me, it's like every year has been like a new, and I don't know if either of you relate to this, but whether it's your mom or someone else, but every year there's like a new learning, a new depth with grief that I get to. And this year, for whatever reason, has been harder than other years. And I'm saying this because Eliza, like how you're saying, like, we've never taken the time, or I don't know if you said never, but like it's been a while at least since you've taken specific dedicated time to really rest and rejuvenate from this loss. That's something that I've done every year, like around the anniversary of the death, but also on her birthday. And then similarly with my nephew, well, his death was the same time as his birthday. So he died 2 days before his birthday. And so there's that time of year and then I was talking to some support like a support group of mine, an accountability group with other healers. And they invited me to consider like intentionally placing like ritual or some sort of something where I can actually like, what's it called? Stagger the grief, like put some intention to doing that. And so I'm reminded of it as you're sharing, Eliza, because I'm wondering, I mean, and I think everyone can come up with their own rhythm. Like, it's not like once a year you have to do this thing, but I don't know. For some reason, I just thought that helped me a lot. And so I'm like offering it to this group and anyone watching the recording of like, can we think of ways where we can, you know, more consistently honor the loss and do what we got to do for it. So I don't know if that supports you too. Was there something else you wanted to share from your journaling?
The last question, what's true about grief, is as I coach and as I meet other bereaved parents, and there's just this, it's different for everyone, but yet for a bereaved parent, it's the same for all of them. Mm. And I've talked to different people with different losses, and I'm realizing more and more that the loss of a child is way different than another kind of
loss. Absolutely.
You're outliving.
It's not the way it's supposed to be. Right.
Yeah.
I remember I did I conducted a ceremony to memorialize a child that had died, and that my opening sentence for the ceremony was, "This is not how it's supposed to be. We're not supposed to bury our young. They bury us. That's the sequence of life. That's how it goes. You bury old people. They die old. That's what we're used to. That's what we expect. When it's the other way around, the loss of a child, there's no explanation. There's nothing to justify, to say, oh, well, of course, that's why." We get through it with the grieving process, but it's just not the way it's supposed to be.
Right.
You can't. There's no answer. There's no answer. There's none.
There isn't. And he just turned 18. I mean, he was 17, almost 17, 16 when he was diagnosed, and he was so excited to be 18.
Absolutely. That's the start. That's the whole beginning of the manhood.
That's the whole beginning of his life. He hadn't had a girlfriend yet.
Yeah.
No, I didn't get a daughter-in-law, grandkids.
Right. No.
None of his dreams.
Yeah. Well, first, I just want to really honor you, Eliza. Thank you so much for just like coming here with such an open heart and sharing so vulnerably. And I think with just tagging back to the card that came up for you, it really is like a friendly reminder, because you've already been on this path of thinking about niching down to this. But I really think this was such a friendly reminder from the universe to like say like, yes, like your thought is right. Like this is the right direction. This is the right way to go. And so I'm excited about that piece of it. And, you know, there's such a tender part too that I have holding for the space that you're holding for yourself, but then also that you'll be holding for these bereaved parents who you'll work with. And it is such important work. Mm-hmm. Just knowing it was my brother's son and my sister-in-law. And so, yeah, I've heard similar. I mean, I didn't do the research that you did or the market research that you did by like talking to all different people, but I just remember hearing from them like this is a different kind of grief. Like it's a whole different ballgame.
Yeah.
There's I read one research, an article, a few of them actually, where they followed bereaved parents, and I forget the percentage. I need to go back, but a percentage of them with no heart problems or anything have gone on to develop cardiovascular diseases and died of broken hearts. Just died early. I mean, yeah. So they don't know how to get through it. They don't have the tools like we do as healers and transformation type of people, and many of them feel like they don't even want to, because I feel like if they try to heal from it, they're actually doing something bad, because
there's the guilt. There's the guilt that
like,
you're, once you lose your child, that you should never be happy again. And if you're happy, then you feel guilty about being happy.
right.
And
So
that will for joy, which is really a basic need. It's a basic need to be happy. You deny that to yourself,
right.
and then it's a mind, body, spirit connection, and then the body will say, there.
So
And
it's it's a hard target audience to get to. But there are ones that want to and need to and are looking for the people like us who can guide them through it.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it reminds me too of like a lesson that I've been learning of like the pain really sucks, but when we learn how to use our pain as the fuel to kind of birth something new. And so while no one would want to be in the club of the bereaved parents, because you are in that club, you have this special kind of fuel to do the healing work that you're going to do. So yeah, let go. A new chapter awaits.
Well, they get stuck, they get stuck.
Yeah.
It's like there's that grief process, the different stages, and they stay stuck.
They do.
And a part of that is that they're stuck in that anger. They're stuck in that anger, so they don't know how to get past it.
Yeah.
And then it becomes self-destructive. It really does.
Yeah. So with all of this, I invite each of you and anyone listening on the recording to take these journaling questions deeper on your own time, and kind of, if you want to rewatch this again, thinking about the crone and invoking the archetype of the crone, who is the elder woman, she who knows. It's funny, I'm looking, I have a couple of Women's March posters in my office here, and I'm looking at the one with like an older Native American woman with her hand up, and it says "We the Resilient," and she's just this beautiful older woman with like the weathered face, but so strong and so resilient, and you can tell she has a little bit of a sense of humor. And so using that archetype to help you through, and even just through the letting go and the ups and downs of business or life or career. With all of that, I just want to switch gears and talk a little bit about dream work, which was my promise earlier to talk about. And I do think, though, talking about this grief was very much a good introduction, because any of us who have lost someone important, I think we've all had at least one dream about who we've lost or something.
Oh my gosh.
Something that reminds us of it.
Yeah.
So, but putting that to the side for a second, just talking about dream work in general. So, like I said earlier, I'm a certified hypnotherapist. And so I've studied for a very long time the subconscious mind and the mind and how it works. And I work with clients to speak directly to that subconscious mind, because like an iceberg, that subconscious mind is responsible for like 88% of your behavior, while your conscious mind is only responsible for like 12%. And so the 88%, that big like piece of the iceberg below the surface that you don't see, is where a lot of the juice is. And so I'm saying that as a precursor to talking about dream work. Have either of you studied dream work at all?
No,
not dream work. I do hypnosis as well.
Okay.
And work with subconscious and other healing modalities, but not dream work.
Okay, cool. I just wanted to get a sense of like if what I was saying was new or like refresher. So for everyone here live, at least it's new. And for my guess is a lot of the people watching the recording, this will be very new. And so I've gotten information, like I said, from my hypnotherapy school, but then also from my own research, and then also from my own coach, and her name is Joanna Lindenbaum. But think about it, throughout the day, your mind, your conscious mind and your subconscious mind like works pretty hard throughout the day. I mean, we get billions of message units every day, and most of it we're not conscious of, because like if I'm paying attention to like this Zoom laptop screen right now, I'm still aware of everything else around, but I'm not like thinking about it. So it's all coming into my brain like subconsciously. And so this is why sleep is so important, because our brain is working really hard. So just like our body needs rest, our brain needs rest too. And one of my favorite ways to kind of illustrate like the whole dreaming process and the whole sleeping process, it's almost like we get all these billions of pieces of mail, right? So we get these billions of pieces of mail throughout the day. So the nighttime when we're sleeping is when our brain actually gets to like sort the mail. And so it sorts the mail like, okay, you know, like how do we sort mail? We immediately know, okay, junk or maybe important, right? So it's like junk, junk, junk. So a lot of the process is really just getting rid of the junk. But also another part of the process is like keeping some of the stuff. So you keep the mail that you have a sense of like, this is important or this is not important, right? And so the way that your mind kind of decides that is by taking a look at the subconscious programming that's already there. And it's like, okay, this seems important. So your dreams really, like most of the dreams that we have, and I'm only going to talk about one type of dreaming because I don't have time to talk about all of them, but when you wake up, like in the morning, like at 7 a.m. or 5 a.m. or whatever, that's usually when you remember your dream. And that's really when it's called a venting dream. So that's the point where your mind is like, okay, like we're getting rid of all of this stuff, and then this is all the stuff that we've made sense of. It's essentially like a report of like the mail sorting process that happened in the middle of the night. And so what's really good about that, like that we can work on with that, is it's a great indicator of like what you're working on. And it's a great indicator of like what's going on subconsciously and also maybe consciously. So we only have a few minutes left. So I just want to pause there. Are there any questions about that? No.
I do have a question. I'm going to save it because it's not a long question, but I think the answer is going to be long, and I don't want to take away from the focus of the group right now. So I'll wait. But I'm very curious about something, but I can wait.
Okay.
Not to worry.
So a great thing to do is when you wake up, do either of you have a trouble remembering your dreams?
No.
No? Okay. Well, some people do. So if you're watching this and you have trouble remembering your dreams, don't worry. Working intentionally with your dreams is a great way to really kind of like work with that subconscious mind and see what's going on there. So it's essentially like your subconscious mind is communicating to you through your dreams. And then when you wake up, you can kind of use your conscious mind to like sort through the mail, right?
Right.
If you have trouble remembering your dreams, which neither of you do, but in case anyone watching this does, you can be intentional about it. And it can be as simple as like, before you go to sleep, just telling yourself, I'm going to remember my dreams. I'm going to remember my dreams. And the intention can also be, you can leave like a journal by your nightstand, which is like a signal to your subconscious mind, like I'm going to wake up and write this stuff down. So I'm going to remember. And it might not work like right away, but just keep like, I'm going to remember my dreams. I'm going to remember my dreams. And then when you wake up, before like jumping straight to your phone or whatever, write it all down, like write whatever you remember. And also too, through the process, like whatever you remember, sometimes through the process of remembering it and writing it down, you'll remember more information.
Right. So do you remember your dreams every night?
Mostly every night, yes.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't remember every night. I don't.
But I think once you start having an intention to work with it, then
maybe it'll be more vivid. Maybe it'll be more.
Yeah. And so I'm just going to leave you with some things that you can do to start working with your dreams. And so the first thing you do, and it's good to do it as soon as you wake up because then you'll remember more. But if not, you can just pick a day, or you can even pick a dream that you've had that in the past that you still remember. So the first thing you do is just literally write down everything you remember from the dream. So it's like, I was wearing this dress and I was in this house and these are the people who were there. These were the things, just everything you can remember, even if it's not a complete memory, but just write down everything. And then the second thing you do is you pick an object or something from that dream. And that can be an actual object, or it can be a person, it can be your hair, just anything that jumps out at you as something that you remember, or the house or the hill or the flower or whatever. So you pick at least 3 objects, but you can pick as many as you want because this is like working with the dream. And so after you pick the object, you then write, I am the, and then you write the object. So I am the, let's say you saw a field of red flowers. So I am the field of red flowers. And then you set a timer for yourself for like at least 5 minutes or 4 minutes. And then you just write from the perspective of that object. So I am the fields of flowers. I blah, 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 blah. And you just keep writing and writing and writing and writing until time is up. And then you do the same thing again for at least 2 other objects. But again, you can pick as many as you want. And try that. And that's basically a way for your conscious. It's kind of like, like back when you were younger and you passed secret notes. I don't know if either of you did this, but I know I did.
Of course.
Yeah. So you're like writing a note and you're not together. Like I know in school we used to do it. In high school I did it a lot because we have different classes. So we would pass the notebook back like in 6th period, like, oh, see you at 7th period or whatever. So essentially like you're writing letters. Your conscious mind and your subconscious mind are writing little love letters to each other. Because when you're doing this exercise that I just told you, it's your conscious mind doing the work. So your subconscious mind is giving you the pieces of mail, right? And then your conscious mind is making sense of it. And you'll notice that as you're practicing this and you're practicing this exercise, you'll see over time, it's like there'll be a lot of things coming up for you. And in terms of intention, you can even take it a step further and have an intention, like, for example, with you, Eliza, this intention of coming down to a more like niche ideal client in your healing and coaching business. You can have an intention like, okay, I want subconscious mind, give me information about this, and then you start passing these notes back to each other in between AM and PM school. So it's a really cool thing. And I would have loved to kind of practice it, but I'll leave you with that as a tool that you can use. And I'll pause there now for any questions or any like final thoughts as we start to wrap this up.
Well, go ahead, Eliza.
I didn't have anything. No.
I thought, I'm sorry. I thought I was interrupted. Well, here's my question. And this happens in, I would say, several of my dreams. I'm not going to say all my dreams, but there'll be a person in the dream. It could be a man, it could be a woman, but okay. Am I gone? Why am I?
No, you're here. You're here.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. But the person, okay. But I don't know that person. I mean, my subconscious created this physical being, like last night, there was a guy in my dream. He had longish hair, wavy. I mean, I can describe him perfectly. He was wearing black glasses. He was, I would say, an attractive man, probably Irish looking. He was wearing a suit. I would say he was probably like maybe in his 50s. I mean, I am describing a person, but I have never met this person. This person doesn't exist in my life. I don't think I saw him on a
what's
TV
your question?
show. How does my mind do that? How does my subconscious make this creature up?
Well, I'll say this. Your subconscious mind speaks in the language of images. And so it's not like verbal language or English or whatever language you speak as we know it, where it's like where it like necessarily makes sense. So the subconscious mind just is like, it's just images all day, like, you know, all day, all night. And so the way that you can understand that is the emotions. So just because you don't know this man, I'd be more curious, like if we were going to do a session on like translating your dream, I would be more curious about how did this man make you feel, or how did you feel about this man?
Yeah.
I also would want to know how old you were in the dream, because what like, is it present day, or were you younger, or, you know, because the age that you are is also an indicator of like, you know how I said the venting, you're like throwing out the junk mail. It's an indication of what time period in your life you were processing with this dream.
Excellent.
So yeah, I mean, we can continue dream work next week and talking about it. Sorry, I have my allergies have been like going crazy, so I'm starting to like drip. But we can go into it a little bit more next week. But I wanted to leave you with these tools so that you can like take it home and noodle with, and you can also use it with clients. You know what I mean? But first,
is there anything you would like us? Is there anything that you suggest to read that we can read between now and next Tuesday about dreams? Or
I don't know any. I'm not really a dream book reader. Everything that I've learned about dreams are from my hypnotherapy school, and then also from my coach. And then everything that I'm saying too comes from me also practicing this. And what I will say is, see, I prefer coming up with the interpretation myself, because, or like yourself, because your subconscious mind is your subconscious mind with all of the experiences and everything. And so I'm not really the kind of person that likes to go to a book for it's like, what does dreaming about spiders mean? I feel like it's too, sometimes I feel called to do that, but that's because that's my intuition, and that tells me that there's some information there for me. But I don't really go by, if you dream about a man with black hair and glasses, that means this, you know. I'm more interested in like, how did you feel in the dream about this man, or how did this man feel, like what was he saying, what did it remind you of? Like, I'd rather go down that road versus a book.
Okay. All right.
Any other questions about this? Was this helpful?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
I'm excited. And Eliza, I hope to see you back soon, and Gloria too. I hope to see you back again, because I would like to take this even further, because it's I can tell there's like there's a lot of questions and a lot of stuff we can do with dream work. And it also felt very important to talk about the grief. But to kind of wrap up, I always like to kind of go around and just ask everyone, you know, what was your biggest insight from today? What are you taking home with you? What resonated with you? You don't have to answer all three, but these are just ideas of things you can answer. So I was just curious, and either of you could go first.
I like what you said about choosing the objects and then writing for 5 minutes from the perspective of that object.
Yeah,
I think that's pretty cool. I like that idea a lot. I'm gonna try that.
Yeah, I would love to like hear.
Actually, sounds like fun.
It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun, and it comes from, because it's like I said, your subconscious mind, and you probably already knew this, Eliza, like your subconscious mind speaks in images. So it's like giving you this image, and so it's like, what is this image trying to say to me? And so your conscious mind has to kind of put it in regular language to like decipher it. And it is a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. And you can even use that, not with dreams, you can use that like even in your conscious life. Like for me, I've been very conscious of like sunflowers lately. And so I haven't done it yet, but it's on my list to like just journal like I am the sunflowers and just go from there. And they didn't come to me in a dream. They've just been kind of like everywhere in my experience. Yeah, so it's kind of like, okay, sunflowers, what do you want? So it doesn't have to just be with dreams, but yeah, it's and that was a tool like my coach Joanna gave that to me, and so I I teach it too, and I tell everyone where it comes from. But yeah, it's one of my favorites as well.
Cool.
How about you, Gloria? What resonated for you? What was a big insight for you?
Well, I think what I felt really good about when we were looking at the first questions regarding grief is that for whatever reason, I am much more comfortable with the grief process than I was years ago. And I don't know, it's because maybe I have dealt with a lot of grief, but I feel at peace with it. I feel that, because I remember like when my mom first died, it was around the holidays, so I was miserable, like from Christmas, from Thanksgiving to New Year's, I was always miserable. And that has changed. And I think, being recognizing that, yes, the loss is there, but the memories keep her spirit alive. And I use that a lot when I talk to my clients or friends when they have a loss, and just recognizing that pain is temporary if you're willing to work through it. So it just kind of confirmed what I kind of know. And the thing about the talk like you're the field of flowers, I'm going to do that because sometimes I find these things, really, I'm going to talk like a field of flowers. But what I love is I love the freeing of it. Yes, I am going to talk like the freeing, like the field of flowers. I want to do that because I think sometimes we do get very uptight and we stay in our little boxes or we stay in our little paths. And an exercise like that, it really forces you to say, all right, I'm going to talk like that teapot, I'm going to feel like that rug or whatever. But I think it's important to get out of yourself, and not take yourself so seriously, because I think that's when the best work comes, when you're open and receptive.
Yeah, I think you'll be pleasantly surprised with how fun this process is. It might not always be fun, I will say, because I had a pretty crazy, gnarly dream last night that it's a whole thing, but I'm going to do a journal about, it was like I was climbing up this hill that was really hard to climb, and it was just a gnarly experience. And so I'm going to journal as the hill. And I know that's not necessarily going to be fun, but some of those more intense objects it's very enlightening. And like you said, Gloria, it's a great way to just step outside yourself and kind of
out of your box, really.
But there's like a really deep, profound, and sacred wisdom that comes through when you do this kind of process. So I'm glad that you're willing to try it on.
Yeah. It's an opportunity to learn about yourself, and I think that's important. That's for your development. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. And so thank you both for sharing that. And just to kind of wrap things up for you both and also for everyone watching, the way that I use dream work in my work is I teach this tool, but also we take it a lot deeper. Like I said, Gloria, for example, with that man that you don't know, we would spend a lot of time like really diving deep into how did you feel about it? Who did this remind you of? And all of that kind of stuff. And what I do at the end of a dream work session is a healing session through a therapeutic imagery that then, depending on what you want to heal and what you're working on, we glean information from the objects, and then we do a healing around that, because we start to tie, make the connections between what's going on in your life, what you want to heal, and what this dream is telling you. And we just kind of like weave together this beautiful like healing ceremony. And so I just wanted to paint the picture a little bit for you, but also just anyone watching. That's what a session like a dream work plus a healing session would look like with me. And for those of you who are part of this healing circle, it's usually $150 for like a 1 hour session, but it's $97 for anyone watching, or either of you, if you would want to do a session like that. And it's very profound. And usually the way that it's really profound with some of my current clients, it's when we have like a longer term relationship, because we start to like build on it. And we don't do dream work every time, but like, especially if there's something specific that we're working on, like a block, like whether it's a block to romantic relationships, or a block to creating money, or a block to like something in career, and there's something we've been working on for weeks and weeks and weeks, usually like then it's like, okay, like what's going on in your dreams? And so I just wanted to kind of paint that picture so that you know what that could look like, and then just invite anyone who's interested in something like that to do that. Okay, why don't we, oh yeah, that was the other thing I wanted to say. And if you have anyone has any questions, you can always email me at my website, which is ameliafortes.com/contact. And let me put that in the chat right now.
I think I have that. Don't I have that?
Yeah, you have my email, Gloria.
Yeah.
So, but for anyone who's watching this that doesn't, they can reach me at ameliafortes.com/contact. To really tie things up, what's like one word, how you feel right now?
Excited to try that object thing.
Yeah. I hope you come back, because I would love to hear more about how it goes. So hopefully you're scheduled to come back. I think I will continue with dream work next week because it's so juicy. Gloria, how about you? One word, one phrase. How are you feeling right now?
I think I would say ready. I think I'm ready. I think I am ready. Yep. Yeah.
That's so great. It's so great for your card too.
Yeah.
And for me, I am just so grateful for this community, and so grateful for both of you, especially how open and vulnerable you were today, and how, basically spirit guided us to talk about grief and letting go and some of these harder things that, but there was such like a resilience and a power with it. So thank you so much for bringing that energy. And we'll be here again, same time next week. The way that you registered is the same exact way. And good night for now.
Good night. Thank you.
Bye. Take care.
Bye-bye.